Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone in today's class for the first intermediate grade. Our textbook is Super Goal 2 and today we have unit What Did You Do Last Week, and we will cover writing and project. This lesson will be presented by me, teacher Mazen Harbi, and the sign language by Mr. Salih Al-Ajan. So let's begin. Our objectives in today's lesson: we hope that at the end of this lesson you will be able to, number one, write the directions of preparing a dish, and number two, use sequence words to complete a paragraph, and number three, prepare a presentation about a regional dish. Before we do this, let's make quick revision on our last lesson. Last lesson we have a reading lesson where that is called Favorite Foods Around the World. And in this lesson, we have learned when the first cookies, for example, was made, and we have learned about the American food and also the Italian food, and also we discussed the Japanese food and the Middle Eastern food, and also different kinds of foods. And also, after reading, we have answered those questions. For example, who made the first chocolate chip cookies, and also how or where chocolate cookies became an accident, and also where did pizza become popular, and also what are some of the most popular dishes that is available in the world. And this, we said that this is a free question. You can, we can have different answers to that questions. And also what ethnic food is popular in your country. And we gave example here in Saudi Arabia. We said that Indian and Italian and American and Chinese food is some of the ethnic and popular dishes we have here in our country. And also we had a discussion, and when we said that is it important to know about different ethnic cuisines, why or why not? And if you remember, I asked you that do you think it is important to try different foods from different parts of the world? If you agree to this, tell me why. Why do you think it is important? And if you don't, tell me why not. Why? Do you think, for example, if you agree with this, do you think it's good to try different type of foods from different parts of the world, or not? You prefer to stick to your the food that you are used to? So we said that this is an open discussion. We can have as many reasons we can provide to that topic or to this theme. Now, as for our lesson today, I would like you please to open your books on page 70. I would like you please to open your books on page 70. On page 70, as you can see here, we have an interesting exercise. I would like you please to work in small groups, whether you're classmates or maybe a friend of yours or a family member, and I want you to talk about your favorite food. I want you to talk about your favorite foods and find a dish that everyone in the group likes. Discuss the ingredients and how to prepare the dish. So first, work with a group, choose the group members, and the second thing you need to do is that find a dish that everyone in the group likes. So you can ask the group around you about the dish that they like. And when you do this, try to discuss with this group or the group member about the ingredients. The things that with them we can make this kind of dish, okay? And how to prepare it. And so you can write how can we prepare it. For example, here, as you can see in this picture, here we have a different type of food. Like, for example, here we have a chicken sandwich, and here we have rice with chicken, and here we have a hot dog, and here we have seafood. So you just try to choose your favorite food, and when you do this, just discuss with the group members about how can you make that type or that kind of food. How can you make it? What are the ingredients? What are the things that we put or we add to that dish in order to make it as it seems. So you will see that it will be a very interesting exercise. Try it with your family member and see how the result will be. And you can compare it with the following exercises that we're going to have right now. So when you finish this, let me make you or introduce you to the new rule in our writing corner today, which is the sequence words. So in writing, we use sequence words to show the order for the things that happen. For example, the sequence words are first, next, then, after that, and finally. And of course, it's not limited to these words. We have many words or many sequence words, but today we're only going to show this right now as of this moment. So what is it, why are we using these sequence words? Just to put the things in order, just to put them in order. For example, here let's imagine that we're talking about a boiled egg, and how can we make a boiled egg? So I want to tell you, or I want to tell you about how can we boil an egg, but I'm going to use sequence words. So let me show you this example. To boil an egg, first boil the water in a pot. Boil the water in a pot. Next, put the egg into the water. Then wait 3 to 5 minutes. After that, remove the egg from the water. Finally, serve the egg. So as you can see here, I used in this example 5 sequence words. So the first sequence words that we use is first. First, it means that the first thing you begin with, which is in this case, first boil the water in a pot. And after this, we use other sequence word here, which is next. It means the other step or the next step. And we use then. So we start with first, next, then, after that, and as a final step, we use the sequence word finally. It means this is the last step. This is the last thing you will do. So this is an example of how can we use the sequence words when we are talking about how can we prepare a dish or a meal. The second rule here we have today in our writing corner, which is we use time words such as when and until. So not only the sequence words that shows the order of things, but also the time words. For example, we said that fry the onion in oil. When we want to talk about how can we fry an onion, well, fry it in oil. So until it is golden brown. So until here is a word that indicates time. The time that we fry this onion. When the water boils, put the spaghetti in the pot. When the water boils, put the spaghetti in a pot. So as you can notice here, the word until and the word when actually tell time. For example, the first one, until we fry the onion. So for how long? Fry the onion, the onion until it is golden brown. So here is until indicates time, indicates how long. As for when the water boils, so put the spaghetti in the pot. So you may ask, when can we put the spaghetti in the pot? Well, when the water boils. So here, when also tells time, indicates time. So these are two words that we use them to indicate time. So now here we have a very interesting exercise, and let's just apply what we have just learned in the writing corner. So in exercise B, it says, read the recipe for pancakes. Complete the directions with time and sequence words. first, next, then, after that, finally, when, and until. Use each word once, sometimes more than one answer is possible. So what we will do here now is that we're going to use not only the sequence words but also the time words like such as when and until. And what we need to do is that we're going to read these directions, and when we read these directions we're going to put the sequence words and the time words. So what do we have? What are the information that we have here is that we're going to talk about the recipe of pancakes. The recipe, it means the instructions, the directions of how can we make a pancake. So here we have the ingredients, the things that we will use to make this pancake. So the ingredients are 1 cup of flour and 2 tablespoons sugar and 2 teaspoons baking powder and half teaspoon salt and 1 egg beaten and also 1 cup milk and 2 tablespoons vegetable oil. So these are the ingredients, the things that we need to see them on the table in order to make a pancake. And these are the directions. Here, as you can see, we have 7 directions. So, or 7 instructions that we need to follow one after one. After this, we can have our own pancake. So let's read these directions first. So the directions, number 1, beat the milk, egg, and oil in a bowl. And number 2, mix the flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt in a large bowl. And number 3, make a hole in the center of the flour mixture. Number 4, pour the milk and eggs into the flour and beat the batter is smooth. And number 5, heat a frying pan, pour a scoop of the batter into the pan. And number 6, the batter starts to bubble, flip the pancake, brown the other side. And number 7, serve the pancakes hot with your favorite toppings. So these are, as we said, these are the directions. These are the instructions. So what we need to do now is that we're going to use the appropriate or the suitable sequence words for these directions. So let's begin with number 1. Beat the milk, egg, and oil in a bowl. And as we said, always, and when we're talking about the sequence word, the first word we're going to use is first, because this is in the beginning. We always in the beginning we use first. This is the first step. First, beat the milk, egg, and oil in a bowl. And number 2, next, we can say next, mix the flour, or we can say after that, mix the flour, or we can say then, mix the flour. They all have the same meaning. They all have the same meaning. So you can use them more than one time. It is possible. So next, or after that, or then, mix the flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt in a large bowl. And number 3, next, or after that, or then, make a hole in the center of the flour mixture. And number 4, pour the milk and eggs into the flour and beat until the batter is smooth. So here in number 4, we use the word until, because it says here that beat those eggs and milk. So for how long? It says here until the batter is smooth. Number 5. Heat a frying pan. Next, or after that, or then, pour a scoop of the batter into the pan. So here, as we said, we can use these 3 sequence words, only one of them, of course, but we can use them more than one time during or in these directions. So number 6, when the batter starts to bubble, flip the pancake brown to the other side. So you may have a question. When can I flip the pancake brown the other side, or flip the pancake to the other side? Well, you can flip it when the batter starts to bubble. So this is another time words that we use. And the last one, number 7, we use it always, we use finally, because this is at the end. We use finally. Finally, serve these pancakes hot with your favorite toppings, So as you can see here, these are the sequence words that we use when we're talking about how can we prepare a food. How can we prepare a food and how can we make a delicious dishes. So we always start in the beginning. We always use first in the beginning, and when we want to end or at the end, at the bottom, we always use finally. Between those two steps, we use either next or after that or then. It doesn't matter what comes first. So we can say, for example, number 2 we can use next, and number 3 we can use after that, and number 5 we can use then, or in number 2 we can use then, and number 3 we can use next, and number 5 we can use after that. So it is up to you, because they have similar meanings. But what is very important here is that when you begin, you always start with first, and when you want to end or conclude, you always end with finally. Not only this, but also remember to use the time words like until and when we're talking about a certain step or a certain direction, and we want to tell for how long. Then until, the word until and the word when can help you and decide to do this. So write a recipe. Here, let's move to the other exercise. Exercise number C. Write a recipe for your favorite food. Make a list of ingredients. Use the imperative to write the directions. Remember to use the sequence words and time words such as first, next, then, after that, finally, when, and until. So as we have just answered in the previous exercise, exercise B, what I would like you to do now is to have or to write down a similar information. So as you can see in exercise B, here we have a list of ingredients, and here we have a list of directions. So what I want you to do are similar things, but first, the first step you need to take is to choose your favorite food. So just imagine or just think of your favorite food. Just think of any food that you would like to make. This is the first step. After you do this, you go to the second step, which is make a list of the ingredients. Make a list of the ingredients that will help you to make this food. And number 3, use the imperative. The imperative means the directions, the instructions that will help you to write down the steps, as we can see here, to write down the steps of how to make this kind of food. So I have chosen a food for you, and this is only one of my favorite foods. You can choose a different one, so which is the egg sandwich. So now I'm going to write down, I'm going to answer this question step by step. So my favorite food is egg sandwich. So a list of ingredients. Here are the ingredients that I'm going to use, which are 2 eggs, 2 slices cheese, and 4 slices toasted white bread, and salt and pepper, and 2 tablespoons mayonnaise, and 2 tablespoons ketchup. So these are the ingredients that I'm going to use when I want to make an egg sandwich. So now I chose my favorite food, and I made a list of the ingredients. So what's left? We need to write down the directions, but not only writing them down, we should also use the sequence word. It's very important that we use the sequence words when we are talking about how can we make an egg sandwich. So these are the directions. I put them in a paragraph and not in separate steps like 1, 2, as we can see in exercise B. And you can choose any method you would like. You would like to put it as a paragraph like myself, or you want to use it in steps or separate steps. So this is or these are the directions that I have used, and let's read how can I use the or how did I use the sequence words in writing down the directions of making an egg sandwich. So I said, first, crack eggs in a pan, and then, before eggs are cooked, place a slice of cheese over each egg. When cheese is melted, place each egg on a toasted slice of bread. Next, season eggs with salt and pepper. After that, spread mayonnaise and ketchup on remaining slices of bread. Finally, cover eggs with bread to make a sandwich. So, this is how can I make an egg sandwich. So, I chose my favorite food, I wrote down the ingredients, and here I wrote down the directions using the sequence words as first, then, next, after that, finally. Not only this, but I also used a time word like when. So you can write down a similar text to this. So just think of the your favorite food. Try to make it simple, so not to have for you not to have to write many vocabularies, and also write down the ingredients, and just make or write down a simple steps or simple directions on how to make that kind of food. Now, as for our last part of our lesson, which is a project, try to prepare a presentation on a regional dish in your country. So, in your country, of course, you have a popular dish. Try to choose one of these dishes and make a presentation. Presentation where it has many pictures and information about that kind of dish, and also how what is the origin of that dish. So as we have read here in this unit about cookies, so just try to think of the origin of this specific food or specific dish, and also what are the ingredients of that dish, and also what what made that dish popular. So just try to think of it and make a presentation that is full of photos and pictures and information about that particular food or dish. And before we finish, don't forget to check on page 122 for additional reading and writing practice. And now we have reached the end of our lesson. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.